Good afternoon. Good evening, actually. This is David. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. and Time for another podcast. This one is chapter one podcast under the red pill category, and that is spiritual warfare. This is, excuse me, late August 2020. We have already been and are ready to be embarking on a large amount of spiritual warfare on this planet. So let's dive in. First, sorry, I need to cough a little bit. You can get settled in your chair. I like to start off a podcast with getting in the right mentality for spiritual growth and development or warfare. So let's start by taking a few deep breaths. You can close your eyes if you like. And I'm taking it all the way from my diaphragm up through my chest, up into my head and back. Whatever movement feels good, you can do. And thank you. Thank you for being here. I invite you into this beautiful space of contentment with us. You belong here with me. Let us open our souls together to receive this information. This is a new channel, and I have some feedback, not a whole lot yet, but I hope it's content that is beneficial. And if so, please like and subscribe, or leave me a comment. I always like to know how everything's going and your own stories as well. So this one is about spiritual warfare. This will probably be, and I've already only been around for like a month, but I would say I've put out some pretty good content already. And I would say out there content. You decide whether it's good, but it's definitely out there. Excuse me. Tonight's will probably take the cake, though. So spiritual warfare. Tonight's podcast relates from a personal story of what happened to me a year ago today, right around a year ago. And it's actually fitting that I filmed this before August is done, because in August 2019, we had a life-shattering experience that really woke me up after that. That was truly my red pill moment as to how the real world works. And so I wanted to start, before I get into that story, I wanted to start thinking and telling you and letting you know about my own walk with divinity. I was born in the South, raised in Tennessee, and I was someone who was raised in a Christian family, and I was raised actually right next to a church in a rural area. And where we were in part of the connected community, and I would go into the church on a daily basis after school and hang out there. And of course, on Sundays and on Wednesday nights, we had potluck dinners and fellowship. And so I grew up there. We went there on Halloween. It was church related, trick or treat, and then we went to the church to celebrate. It was just a part of my life, but I remember some quiet moments in the church where I went into the upper room, or where I went into the library, where, looking back on it, I can truly say that I felt the presence of God. That's still small. It was in those quiet moments. That's when I felt God. It generally had a good feeling all around the building, the structure, the inside, the outside. Always felt safe and protected. But when I went in those quiet places, I really felt the peace and the quiet quietness of God. Later on, I had some confusion in my life into my teenage years and college years, questioning the world. Became kind of a socialist in a way, touting Che Guevara for a while, and a lot like kind of probably Bernie Sanders supporters. Just felt like I was an anti-corporatist. Hated the destruction of what's going on the planet. Um, and so that was kind of where then I got into the working world, but my Christian faith kind of plateaued and started to go downslide a little bit, where I questioned the faith over the subsequent years, and became Catholic when I got married, and I was into that. I really liked that, but I also read Eckhart Tolle at the same time, and I didn't have any problem having those co-aligned together. And we did go to the Catholic Church, but I definitely I understood where Christians were coming from, but I can't say that I truly believed in angels or God at the time. I've always been open-minded, though, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. Early on, I had a knowing. It was a knowing that God was real, as I felt him in my heart when I was a little kid. And as I got older, I think we get distorted. We get into the intellect and knowing when you're a kid, that's intuition. So get distracted, and so I can't say I was an atheist, but I can't say I was a very strong Christian. I was open-minded and uncertain. I did, however, have a time period around Easter Sunday, Good Friday and Easter Sunday, one year where I seriously considered becoming a pastor. Maybe about 10 years ago, 2010-ish timeframe, and I really did feel the presence of God at that point. But life being what it is, I moved forward, moved ahead. Now, the first podcast that I did, 1.1, which is on remote viewing, kind of details my spiritual exploration last year in 2019, how I got into remote viewing and understanding everything that was going on. And at that point, I really discovered that remote viewing is real, and there's a lot that opens the door to a lot of other potential realities. And so in that I kind of, I guess, opened up my mindset to believe in things like aliens, for example, which I mentioned in the Draco Reptilian video. That was a subsequent summer of 2019. Now, when August came around, I was continuing to explore life. I was looking, one of the things that I was learning about through the whistleblower technology, whistleblowers, was the technology that they had. Corey Good, Jason Rice, Tony Rodriguez, Emery Smith, Bill Tompkins, all talked about this amazing space technology. And Stephen Greer, and I will have a link to Dr. Stephen Greer's video in August of 2019. I posted this information on YouTube, and I put it out on Facebook as well, relating to free energy, and that's where my story begins. So I'm gonna be reading for the majority of this story. Okay, so this was August a year ago, 2019. I was commenting on a YouTube post in which the topic was free energy. My specific comment was that I would not vote for another political candidate that did not declare their support for free energy technology for everyone. I came, in fact, to learn that free energy technology is available and has been known about by the United States government for over 30 years. This free energy technology is relating to element 115, and it is technology that our government has possession of and access to that would literally free the world overnight of our energy needs. Now, you can imagine the ramifications on the economy, yes, but it is something that has amazing potential. I was very distraught, and that's why I made that comment. And in fact, there have been political candidates who have talked about this, and we'll get into that at the end. Okay, so I made the comment on YouTube, made a comment on Facebook. A couple days later, my son was in his room when he experienced a strong stabbing pain in his heart, unlike any he'd ever experienced in his life. He later told me it was like a stabbing going in and out of his heart. We immediately ran to his aid, and when I touched him on his head, I immediately felt some of his pain jump into me. When I touched him, it like jumped into me. It's like electric or something, electrostatic. Within 15 seconds, his pain had gone away, and he seemed to be okay. My wife and I didn't know what to make of it, as my son is very healthy and athletic and has never had any heart trouble of any kind. I went to lay down and pray and meditate, trying to understand it. I received a message during my prayer that this was not a natural occurrence to my child, but was the work of a black magic practitioner. I was completely unfamiliar with this. However, being an intuitive person and having spent the last having been an intuitive person and having spent the last 2 months developing my intuitive faculties, I was able to meditate and receive further information that just seemed to jump into my head more than normal. Knowing what I know, this is an experience where angels, as spiritual guides, tend to appear because I have summoned them with my prayers out of a true concern and love for my children, who my child was experiencing heart attack-like symptoms. This is something any Christian can understand through prayer, more so if they're in touch with their intuition. My son later explained to me, like I said, that he had felt exactly like he was being stabbed in the heart from outside at 1 second intervals. For now, though, I was using only my pure intuition. I closed my eyes in the bedroom, and my bedroom was quiet, and I closed my eyes like I was taking a nap. And I asked my angels where this black magic was coming from. I was told clearly, telepathically, I was told that I could be shown if I would like. I immediately saw a vision like Google Earth zooming into the western island of Indonesia. I then stopped the meditation and I rested a few minutes. After that, I came back to ask the same question. And because I was such a doubter at the time, I was such a doubter in the intuition and the guidance and the telepathy that came and the visions that came my way, I didn't necessarily believe them. And so that's the reason, just so you know, why I stalled out, took a break, came back 5 minutes later. It's a pattern with me, trusting my intuition. So I then stopped the meditation. I rested a few minutes. After that, I came back to ask the same question, and I got the vision of the same place. But this time, it was zoomed in further into the western half of the island. Again, this is the western half of the Indonesian island chain. I then stopped and rested more while I cleared my head completely. It took another break. After several more minutes, I came back to ask the same question, and I zoomed way into the southwestern part of the island, and I saw a massive coastal city, and I received the little letters in my third eye, Mara. I saw millions of people living there. This was a big city right by the coast is what I got in my third eye. And I then zoomed in close enough like a bird to see several streets These streets paralleled the coastline. I was drawn into a street a few blocks from the coast, and then a several-story brick building on the corner of two streets. And then, not being able to fully trust my intuition, I backed out of the meditation completely. I waited several minutes before re-engaging, but when I did, I zoomed in much stronger than before. Once I got to the building level, which was within 50 feet or so of the building, a man's face started to emerge. He was very, very short man, maybe 5'3" or so, and a middle-aged, he might have been 5'1". He was really small. A middle-aged, very dark-skinned Asian man. Very dark skin, yes, dark black hair. I got closer to him. He seemed to notice me, and he began to grimace like that. I instantly knew that he knew I was watching him. He sensed me. It was like that. I then saw a mark in his eye. It was like he had some kind of dragon mark or a lightning bolt or something in an eye. I then saw a mark in his eye that was like a lightning bolt, but I instantly recognized it as being aligned with the dark energy of a dragon type. I thus knew him to be evil, which I could clearly see in his face. I knew that he had done this to my child. So I backed out for a minute. After that happened, I backed out for a minute or two. And I was having a consultation with my guardian angels. I asked them if it would be, this is all telepathically, and sometimes when I do this, I'll say it out loud and I'll receive the information telepathically, but I'll ask out loud. I asked them if it was okay for me to send him back the energy that he had sent into my house. In other words, I'm not trying to hurt this man, but if he's the one that did this to my child, that I would send him back like a mirror what he sent into my house. So I asked my angels if that's okay, and I received an answer of yes. So I descended into his building, getting within 5 feet of the man. He was highly aware of me, and he seemed to be in a combination of anger and fear at this point. I knew that I couldn't wait long, so I balled up all the energy I was feeling in my hands from this happening to my child, and I sent it back to him with a ton of force behind it. And then the visual screen completely blacked out. I rested. So when I did that, it was gone. It was like gone. And I think I either just laid down for a bit or I may have taken a nap at that point. But it was like turning TV off. Really, I got no reception in my third eye. So the visual screen completely blacked out. I rested for about 15 minutes or so. Then out of nowhere, I felt a sharp stabbing pain in my left kidney, like right here. A sharp pain, stabbing pain in my left kidney coming from outside of myself. It was like a knife was being stabbed, a long one too. That was like this, like a long knife being stabbed. I knew from past experience that I had to have all my attention within my body. So, and I will talk about that in a second. So I had put all my attention on that pain that I felt, and I successfully pushed that knife back out of my body, but it was not easy because he was trying to push it in. And then it came at me in a stabbing manner a couple more times, but I was successful at retracting it, and then it stopped. Okay, so before I forget, I'm not a spiritual master of any sort, but Eckhart Tolle has a book called The Power of Now. And in that book, he has something that very much helped me in that moment. It's a meditation. He's got several types of meditations, the breathing ones, but this one is a body meditation where you, and he asks a simple question. So I want this to be impactful. I don't mind running a little bit over 30 minutes on this video because I want you to get the full emphasis if anything like this ever happens to you. And Eckhart would ask, Okay, hold your hand up, close your eyes. If you can't see your hand, how do you know you have one? Because you can feel it. That's what everybody says. And so that's the start of it. That's the start of it. And he has these body meditations where you put your attention, you can run it through like waves, and then you can hold all of your attention constantly on your body. And let me tell you, that meditation is worth solid gold. You can heal your entire body, which is what he goes on to say. You know, the creepy crawlies and whatever you have in your body are there because you have not shined the flashlight of your attention on it. And that's another thing I've dealt with. But once you do that, you have tremendous power. So having done that meditation, oh gosh, 12 years ago, I had that ability to immediately know what was happening to me. I didn't have to be a victim because we're not victims. You know, we can control a lot of things. You could call it psychically or just your body awareness. Okay, so thought I should share that with you. Okay, so I was successful at retracting the knife, then it stopped. Once that happened, I became curious and I researched that part of the world. Sure enough, the island of Indonesia was as I had imagined, although I never previously remembered or knew what it looked like. And though I'd never even heard of Marrakesh, it was exactly as I'd seen in my dream, located in the southwest part of the island. Then I learned about this city and region had a long history of black magic practitioners in their culture. They even had black magic services ready available for sale over the internet for low prices. I read news stories where children were found to have staples and rusty nails lodged in their bodies as a result of psychic attacks. Linking all of that in the video description. And if I can, into the video, I need to upgrade my video editing abilities, but I do have intention of that. So children, rusty nails lodged in their bodies. It didn't take long. It's out there on the internet. You can see all this stuff from psychic attacks. I was mesmerized. That night, a sense of fear came in as I thought, oh boy, I've got to go to bed. I'm a sitting duck here. I'm a sitting duck as a target. I was scared going to bed that night after what happened. I thought we might be targeted and unprotected in our sleep. I was thankful of my angels for making me aware, but I was uncertain why they had not protected us from the attack altogether. I said a prayer for protection and I went to sleep. In the middle of the night, I awoke. I cannot say it in any words other than this. More clearly than any other time in my life, I was able to communicate telepathically with my spiritual guides. I was informed that this was the work of the old power structures of the planet who have controlled this planet for thousands of years. They utilized, and the word I got was they utilized crawler technology, which is a form of artificial intelligence, which picked up the term free energy that I had typed in. They found out everything else about me through my Google accounts, including the temporary house we were renting. I was shown the word discernment, discernment, discernment. And in that I should have more of it. I should have more discernment in the future when I'm posting things on the internet. Then I thought to myself, this is the work of these old power structures trying to intimidate me. Instantly, my little daughter, who was sleeping next to me, after I said that, after I thought that, I thought, this is those people that I've read about that and heard about, that these old power structures. At that exact moment, my daughter, who was asleep, she turned to me, she turned her head slowly towards me, and she said aloud, audibly, it was them. And then she immediately turned back the other way and she fell back asleep. So I never said anything out loud. I just thought it. And at that moment that I had that thought, she turned audibly in her sleep and said that, and then turned and went back to sleep. I was shown a vision also of a large blue dome protecting our house. And I knew I could sleep peacefully the rest of the night. I knew that our family was protected. Um, and not just our family. I saw that dome expanding. I saw that they were trying to, when he could not psychically hit me and my family because of the blue dome, he was going to try to hit our neighbors and other neighbors, and that the blue dome was expanded throughout the night to protect a large area of the town. But I knew I could sleep peacefully. The next morning, as I was waking, I saw that the evil man unsuccessfully attempted to attack us. And in his outrage, he broadened out to the neighboring houses and tried to attack them as well. I was informed that these people were all protected, and a giant blue dome ever expanded to thwart these attacks. Before the night was over, I was shown that the whole town was protected. When I spoke with my wife the next morning over coffee, before she told me that in a dream she was shown that a blue dome had protected our house that same night. That night, I instinctively knew he would try again, and he did, striking my son. Luckily, I was there, and I felt the pain go up into my arm, into my head. I decided against retaliation and a trail of anger, and that ended up being a good decision, as nothing else has happened to us since. Okay. So that was quite a shocker to me, but it proved to me several things. It proved to me that the black magic is real and that there are people that connect to that. Indonesia is very interesting because that story aligns to something I heard from David Wilcock, because David Wilcock and Corey Goode were approached several years ago, trying to get somebody trying to get them to stop whatever they were doing. One of them is just stop. You can talk about certain things, but you can't talk about this stuff, or the exact language that they got. And so they were negotiating with this person who was hiding behind screen names and stuff, and he had informed them that, look, we did a hit on your website, and we just used cheap labor in Indonesia, and we hired them, and they did that. So that was real interesting that kind of aligned with what I got of the cheap age labor from Indonesia that is actually black magic practitioners. So yeah, interesting. The Blue Dome, heard of the, if you look up Corey Goode and the Sphere Being Alliance, it's pretty fascinating stuff. It's also called the Blue Chicken Cult, which is derogatory information, purposeful derogatory information, and in my opinion is kind of a badge of honor. Like when I posted the reptilian video, Wikipedia put up the reptilian humanoids. These are used in conspiracy theory. So I was like, yes, I got the badge of honor. That means it's real. That proves to somebody that, oh, this is something they're trying to discredit, that this is information you actually need to watch, you need to listen to. We need more of this content. And we have tons of this content out there from tons of people. So anyway, yeah, it's fascinating that this happened to me. I just wanted to tell that story and to let you know that as of that point, and probably before then, to be honest, but really, how can you go through an experience like that and not believe that you're protected, to believe that you have angels? You have to be smart. And they told me flat out, use discernment. And I've had dreams, where things have happened and have said, you might be wandering too much in one direction or the other. But as long as you stay on the path, as long as you are devout and are honoring in your work and are working to service to others, mentality to help the world, help the planet, you are protected. And you need to understand that, and you need to start acting like it. From my perspective, that's what we as a planet, as a collective, we're a collective. We need to come together. We need to work together. We have a lot of work to do, but we need to learn, grow in our skills, and we all have this ability. I am not unique. I am not anything special. We all have this ability when we can go within. So with that, I think I'll just leave it there. And was I going to say one other thing? I'll put some information on the video descriptions on the Marrakesh and the culture of black magic practitioners there. It might be that this comes in the future from some of these practitioners to certain people who are doing good work, and they need to know. These people need to know. Like the Save Our Children movement in California, you know, there's starting to be some weird things happening with that. But they need to know, the people doing that are from Hearts of Gold, that they are protected. They work in understanding and use their intuition, and they'll be just fine. And this planet is in great shape. We are powerful, and we are putting that out there. So y'all take care. God bless.